Why are salespeople so afraid of price and money conversations? We're going to talk about that today. Hi, I'm Brian, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest fears in sales, the price conversation. I created the sales framework, which helps people sell without being a cheesy salesperson. It works with all methodologies and even works with introverts. So follow us if you want to know more, and hopefully we'll see you at one of our workshops. Anyway, we all know the moment. You've built the rapport, your meeting is feeling good, everything's going well. And then the client asks, so how much does it cost? And suddenly your stomach flips. Why is that question so terrifying for so many salespeople? That's what I want to talk about today. Because once you understand the fear, you can move through it. You can actually make pricing your ally. So most people or salespeople are afraid of these price or money conversations for a variety of main reasons. I think the biggest one might be fear of rejection. We tend to link price directly to whether the client says yes or no. So if they push back, it feels like they're rejecting us and rejecting us personally. And then there's uncertainty. Many salespeople don't have a clear framework for handling pricing questions. They're just winging it. And when you're guessing and when you're winging it, fear creeps in. They also have this belief that price must equal value. They've been taught all this value-based selling. And deep down, lots of salespeople think if I charge more, I'm then going to have to justify it, or I have to discount it. I'm going to have to do a lot of persuading and tricks. They see price as the whole story instead of simply part of a bigger value combination. And then sometimes they just don't believe in the price. And this will come across in everything you say, everything you do, whether you recognize it or not. And you're going to put that same doubt about the price into your client. So this whole combination of fear, uncertainty, misplaced beliefs, not knowing how to have that conversation. Think about the last sales training you had that talked about how to handle pricing, not overcoming price objections, but how to have a price conversation. That's what we do. We have a methodology for that, a framework that will actually help you and plug into whatever sales method you're using right now. We don't want price to make you nervous, defensive, overly apologetic about your price. I've seen that so many times. Well, it's X price, but, and then they put the but in, like, why are we apologizing for our price? Or I can do better. Well, you just gave me the price, but now you're telling me that's not the price? That doesn't make sense to me. Let's think about it logically. Here's the reality. Your clients expect to talk about money with you. They run businesses, or they manage budgets, or they make financial decisions every single day. All they're trying to understand is, does this investment that this person in front of me is going to ask me for, does it make sense compared to the problem I'm trying to solve? And that word, does the investment, not price. Clients rarely buy the cheapest option. There aren't a lot of price shoppers in the world we live in of professional salespeople. They buy the option that they think is going to solve the problem with the least risk. So when you avoid the money conversation or you rush through the money conversation, it creates tension. And the client thinks, hey, if they can't talk about their own pricing confidently, how are they going to solve my problem confidently? So the paradox becomes, the more you avoid price, the bigger a deal it becomes in the client's mind. You delay the conversation, your client assumes it must be expensive. You rush it, they assume you're hiding something because you give them the price and want to go straight to the close. Or you discount immediately, sometimes without them even asking. So you're communicating to them, and they're going to assume as well that you don't believe in the value. Avoiding price doesn't protect you. It amplifies the client's doubts. Think of it like another yellow light in sales. It's a moment of hesitation. But if you ignore this yellow light, it will turn red and the deal will stop. But if you address it calmly, it often turns green. So what do you do? What do you do instead of what you're doing now? Well, let me give you a couple practical shifts. Reframe price as part of the discovery. Don't see price as a final hurdle at the end. Treat it as a natural part of the conversation. I often ask early on, have you established a budget for this project? This is way different than asking for the budget. As a matter of fact, I don't want to know the budget. I don't need to know the budget. I just want to know that you, your team, whatever, have actually looked at setting aside funds for it. If not, it's a different conversation. But that's going to be based on their answer. Have you established a budget for this project? It's yes or no. And then we can deal with both of those. And we'll show you how to do that in some future videos. I also tend to use a lot the three-part money conversation, which one it was taught to me, which is why we've adopted it as a key element of our sales framework. It became a game changer. It made me super comfortable, super confident in talking about price with a client. So when a client asks about price, you don't need to panic. You don't need to hedge or throw out a random number. Instead, you simply say, again, three parts. You say, I don't know. Or I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know the right number for you yet. It's different for everyone. That's part one. I don't know, Mr. Customer, about what it's going to be for you. It's different for everyone. Then we go to part two. Based on what we've discussed so far, other companies who wanted to achieve this kind of result or whatever it is you're talking about, who wanted to accomplish this, who wanted to alleviate this, who wanted to adopt this, typically invest between X and Y. That's the second part. Based on what we've discussed so far, I don't know the right number for you. It's different for everyone. Based on what we've discussed so far, other companies tend to invest between X and Y. Now, those two numbers should be about 20 to 25% apart. You don't say it tends to be between 1,000 and 1 million. That's not right. You want that about 20 to 25 spread, so we're in a ballpark and it's a real range, not a guess. And by the way, if you don't have the information, you can go back to the top and get some more information. I don't know. Let me ask you a few more questions and then I can get the number for you that will typically achieve the kind of result. They can get them in the right ballpark. The third part of this is, can you see yourself making an investment in that range? Can you see yourself, if you have to, can you see yourself spending in that range, if you have to use the word spend? I typically like to say, can you see yourself making an investment in that range? Because we're talking some high ticket. Your mileage may vary. You might not have as high a ticket. That one question, that third part, that does all the heavy lifting. If they say yes, we thought it would be somewhere around there, perfect. We've got alignment and we can keep working with the client down the rest of our framework or path. If they say no, which can happen, you now know early where you are. And then the follow-up questions to that are so important. Well, where did you think we would be investment-wise? Or where did you think this project was going to land? What did you think the costings on this project were going to be? Or service, whatever it is you're selling. And then they can tell you, whatever number they give you, you've got one more question, which is, how did you come up with that number? And now we're having a real conversation. Remember, our conversations are all about having these proper, structured conversations where we can be in it and be curious. And I am curious. When they tell me a number, if I say it's going to be between 100 and 120,000, and they say, ooh, and I've said, can you see yourself making an investment in that range? I said, well, no. Well, so how much did you think it would be? Well, I thought it would be around 50,000. I can say, okay, how did you come up with that number? and then we can talk about that. See, I'm curious as to how they came up with that number. And this doesn't require a whole lot of thinking. Ooh, if they say this, I say that. This is a proper, natural conversation. They've said a number. I'm asking about the number. I can even ask for their help. If, I'm going to probably be here, but you're thinking here. What do you think we should do about that? Again, we're working together with the client. This isn't going to be an adversarial, antagonistic relationship. This is the mark of a true salesman. So I do tend to, and I talked about value, I tend to anchor in value and not just numbers, because if we've talked about a solution, we've talked about some of the pain it's causing them, and we've talked about where we're going to be, that the pricing will make sense in the context of the problem. If I've uncovered the client is losing $100,000 a year doing nothing, or losing $100,000 a month because of inefficiencies, when I offer them a solution that's 20 grand or 50 grand, it's not expensive anymore. It's like throwing them a lifeline. When you're in the money conversation, and don't tense up, don't sweat it when somebody starts talking. This takes practice, by the way. And as you know, at That Business Trainer, we never role play. We do practice. So you need to stay calm and you need to stay curious. If someone says, that seems high, most people panic, or, ooh, that seems expensive. The salesperson doesn't know what to do. Well, instead of panicking, lean into curiosity. If you give them a number and they say, ooh, that seems high, compared to what? 3 words that will open up a world of conversation and help you understand where your client's coming from. Compared to what? Or you could say things like, help me understand, what were you expecting it to be? Those questions open the dialogue rather than shutting it down. And it's good to find out price early. It's good to find out if we're in the ballpark. If we're in the ballpark, then we can work on final numbers later. And we can also, if the ballpark changes drastically, we can talk about how and why, and your client will understand because they've been there through the whole process. So the initial question, why are salespeople so afraid of price and money conversations? It's not because the clients hate talking about money. It's because we hate it. We attach fear, uncertainty, our own misplaced beliefs. But when you reframe it, and when you use simple but effective tools like the 3-part money conversation, and when you personally stay in curious mode, you'll find those conversations are actually some of the easiest and most productive parts of the sale. I know you don't believe me now, but you will. If you'd like to learn frameworks that make price conversations feel natural, not forced, check out our workshop. Keep watching these videos. Oh, yes, our workshop's called The Sales Framework, and it's designed for people who want to sell without stress and without being cheesy or using cheesy salesy tactics, and perfect for introverts. You do not have to be the loudest person in the room to be the best salesperson. Thanks for watching. Remember, price isn't the enemy. Avoiding the conversation about price is the enemy. And in an upcoming video, we'll talk more about pricing and how any objections or hesitations will typically come down to one of 2 things, value or logistics, and why you better know which it is before trying to move forward. Talk to you soon. Money.